In this video, we're going to talk about how to design a oscillator circuit using two transistors. So let's call the first transistor Q1 and the second one Q2. Q1 is an NPN transistor. This is the collector, that's the base, and that is the emitter. Now the specific type of transistor that I'm using is the 2N2222 NPN transistor. Q2 is known as a PNP transistor. This is the base, that's the collector, that's the emitter. The difference between the two transistors is evident based on the direction of the arrow. In the NPN transistor, the arrow points away from the transistor. In the PNP transistor, it points towards the center. So that's how you can quickly distinguish a PNP from an NPN transistor. Now let's call this R1 and R2. R1 is a 10 kilo ohm resistor. R2 is a 1 mega ohm resistor. And this is C1. And for the inductance, I'm using a step-up transformer. Now, this transformer is a center tap transformer. It's one of those transformers that converts a 120 volt AC power source into a 12 volt AC signal, but I'm using it in reverse. So the output voltage of this particular circuit, when C1 is set to a capacitance of 0.1 microfarads, is about 45 volts. At least that's what I got when I connected it to a meter. When shorted by a multimeter, the amount of current that was flowing through the meter is about 15 milliamps. So that's how much power is at the output of this circuit. Now let's talk about the relationship between the capacitance and the frequency. So at a capacitance of 0.05 microfarads, I was able to get this by connecting two of these capacitors in series. So at a capacitance of 0.05, the frequency was 63.2 hertz. And at a capacitance of 0.1 microfarads, the frequency was 30.5 hertz. And at a capacitance of 1 microfarad, it went down to 10 hertz. So notice what's happening, the general trend. As we increase the capacitance of the capacitor, the frequency decreases. The frequency is inversely related to the capacitance. And there's two formulas that can help us to see why. In an RC circuit, the frequency is 1 over 2 pi RC, or some variation of that formula. And in an LC circuit, which we do have a capacitor, and we do have the inductance of a transformer. So in the LC circuit, the frequency is 1 over 2 pi times the square root of LC. Either case, the capacitance is on the bottom of the fraction. Whenever you increase the denominator of a fraction, the value of the fraction decreases. So thus we can see why that when we increase C, the frequency decreases. Now the frequency of the output is not only dependent on the capacitor, but it also depends on other things as well. It depends on R1. So let's talk about the relationship between R1 and the frequency. Actually, I might need more space than that. So this is when the capacitance is at 0.1 microfarads. So when R1 was set to 1 mega ohm, the frequency was about 3.5 kilohertz. Now the oscillator wasn't stable. It was fluctuating around 3.5 kilohertz. Decreasing R1 to 510 kilo ohms, the frequency fluctuated between 900 and 1000 hertz, or 1 kilohertz. Now when R1 was 100K, the frequency was much less. It was 71.8 hertz. And then when R1 was 51K, the frequency decreased to 45.7 hertz. And then when it's 22K, the frequency went down to 34.2 hertz. And then at 10K, 32.3. So for this particular circuit, decrease in R1 has the effect of decrease in the frequency. R1 affects the rate at which C1 charges and discharges. So when you increase R1, it's going to take a longer time for the capacitor to charge and discharge. Now, something else that affected the frequency is the value of the load resistance. So when C1 was set to 0.05 microfarads, notice the relationship between the load resistance and the measured frequency across it. So at the output, I attach a resistor, and then the multimeter was across the load resistor. So when RL is infinity, that is when there is no load resistor, the frequency was 63.4 hertz. Now, when I use a 1 mega ohm load resistor, the frequency didn't really change much. It was at 63.5 hertz. And then dropping it down to 510 kilo ohms, it remained at 63.5 hertz. And then using a 100 kilo ohm resistor, it increased to 63.7. So it's fairly stable when the load resistance draws a small amount of current from the transformer. But it's going to change soon. When I decrease it to 10 kilo ohms, the frequency shifted slightly to 64.9 hertz. Using 1 kilo ohm, it went up to 76.3 hertz. And then using 100 ohms, it changed significantly to 137 hertz. So as more current is drawn from the output, the frequency changes. As the load resistance decreases, the frequency increases. So it's important to understand what factors in the circuit affects the frequency at the output. So we saw that the capacitor affects it, R1, and also the load resistance. Now we need to talk about the power consumed by the circuit, because if the current flowing through the two transistors, if it's too high, it can damage the components. The load resistor affects how much current is being drawn from the battery. So IB is the current flowing from the battery. When the load resistance is infinity, the amount of current that the circuit draws from the battery is approximately 100 milliamps. Using a 1 mega ohm resistor, it decreases to 95 milliamps. Using a 100 kilo ohm resistor, it drops to 87. So clearly, drawn current from this side of the transformer somehow affects the impedance of the primary side of the transformer. Using a 10 kilo ohm resistor, the amount of current drawn from the battery is a lot less. It's 13.7, which is good, because a small amount of current won't damage this particular transistor. It will prevent it from overheating. Now, using a 1 kilo ohm resistor, the current actually went back up to 24.3 milliamps. So the load resistance affects how much current is being drawn from the battery. Now the battery's voltage is 5.5. I've actually used 4 D-cell batteries, which should have a rating of 6 volts, but because they're used D-cell batteries, the measured voltage was 5.5. So the data is based on that voltage. Now I've actually tried adding a resistor between the emitter of Q1 and the ground, and this was to restrict the amount of current flowing to the collector of Q1 so that it doesn't overheat. However, when adding a resistor, the circuit failed to oscillate. So you may want to keep that in mind if you're thinking about doing the same thing. So that's basically it for this video. So now you know how to create an oscillator circuit using an NPN and a PNP transistor.